Welcome to the lecture series on machine learning laboratory. Today we are going to look into the introduction of the machine learning laboratory course. Today we are studying basics of Python, NumPy module, Pandas module and the Matplotlib module, which are the most basics for to code in the Python. Before going into the Python, let us see what is the outline of the machine learning laboratory for 7th semester. The machine learning laboratory contains 10 experiments, out of which the 6 experiments are to be conducted without using the libraries, and the 7, 8 and 9 experiments can be 7th, 8th and 9th experiment is being conducted can be conducted using the built-in libraries, and again 10th experiment is being conducted without using the library function. The programs of the machine learning laboratory can be implemented either in Java or Python. Python is preferred most because Python provides most of the beautiful features for handling the data. Then the data sets that are to be used for the machine learning laboratory can be obtained from the UCI repository, or it can be constructed by manually by using the CSV files. So in the examination, out of 10 experiments, so one experiment is to be conducted, and it carries the maximum, it carries the 100 marks, 80 as per the schedule. The marks distribution in the laboratory, so that is procedure. For procedure it is 15 marks, that is for write up it is 15 marks, for conduction it is 70 marks, and for viva it is 15 marks. So totally the lab is conducted for the 100 marks. So we need to prepare these 10 experiments thoroughly for the machine learning laboratory examination. We are executing the machine learning programs in the Python environment called the Jupyter Notebook. The Jupyter Notebook comes by default on installation with the Anaconda package. So this is the outlook of the Jupyter Notebook, which runs in any of the default browsers. Better to use Chrome for using the Jupyter Notebook. The programs can also be executed on the Google Colaboratory environment, so where all packages are already available and we have to just import them and use as needed. First we see how to program with the Python in the Jupyter Notebook. Let us see how to print the values in the Python. So welcome to Python with machine learning. So execution is done with the help of the shift enter key. So if we observe this, so Python doesn't need any main function to execute the program, and it is the straightforward way of executing the statements. So next moving on to the variables. No variable declaration is needed for Python language. We can directly use the variables, and the interpreter itself will predict what is the type of the variable. So without initializing we can execute it. Later on we can check the type of variables using the type function. So here we know that the type of the y is float. We will just print the statement. So print function is used to display any value. So we know that the x is int and the y is the float. Then next looking on to the various conditions and looping statements. The if is written similar to the if how we write in C, but with a small change in the syntax. If I have a variable x equal to 10 and I want to check whether x is greater than 5, so each if condition is terminated with a colon, and there should be an indentation. Since Python doesn't use any brackets for the blocks, so indentation itself represent the blocks. So if it is greater than 5, then x is greater than 5, then print it is greater than 5. Or we use the else block to say print less than 5. So when I execute this, I will get the answer as greater than 5. One thing to be remembered in using the condition statement, that is in if else in the Python, is the condition must always be a Boolean expression and it must always be terminated with a colon. And after the conditions, the indentation must be maintained to execute the blocks. Moving on to the looping statements, the for loop is being used in this way. So for I in range 10 colon print I. So I will get the result as 0 to 9. So for loop is being used when we know how many times iterations are to be made well in advance. In such cases, for loop is very useful. The syntax is for followed by the iteration variable, then in is the keyword, and after in we can write any list, any tuple, any of the iteration members. And the for is terminated with again the colon, and the blocks that are to be, the statements that are forming the for blocks are to be indented inside the for. Similarly, we can look at the while. For while x is not equal to 0 colon print x, and we increment x plus equal to 1. Since Python doesn't support increment and decrement operators, we write x equal to x plus 1. So here we will get the value as since this is an infinite loop, because we have not written any terminating condition. So each time we are just executing the statement and incrementing it by 1, starting with the value 10. So hence we will get this as an infinite loop. Let us change this to the normal loop, while loop. So we will just, instead of plus equal to 1, we will make it a minus equal to 1. So I will get 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. So this is how we can use the while loop. More precisely, we are using for, while, if, else in the in our programs. Next, moving on to the modules. We normally use the NumPy module. Now, why we use the NumPy module? NumPy module is nothing but it is a numerical Python library which works with the arrays. Why we have to use arrays? Even though Python supports provides a list for handling the data types, for handling multiple variables, because NumPy provide an array object that is up to 50 times faster than traditional Python list. The array object in NumPy is called n-dimensional array, and it provides lot of supporting functions that make working with n-dimensional array very easy. So arrays are very frequently used in data science where speed and resources are very important. Now one question is, why NumPy is faster than list? NumPy arrays are stored at continuous places in memory, but the lists are the one which can, and the NumPy arrays manipulates the data very efficiently. This is called the locality of reference, and they are also optimized to work with latest CPU architectures. The NumPy itself is written in Python and partially in the C and C++ language. Then next, let us see how to use the NumPy module. So we can, since NumPy is already installed, you can install the NumPy using the pip install command, pip install NumPy. In order to use the NumPy, first we need to import the NumPy. Then next, we use in order to use the array, we will take a variable array arr equal to numpy dot array. Array is a function which is available in the NumPy library. So whenever we are using any of the library functions, any of the library module functions, we have to use the module name. So I will just print the array. So this is how the NumPy array are being used. Instead of using the name as NumPy each time, I will use an alias name called np, and here I will use the name np.array. So where I will execute this statement, where I can use the short term as the NumPy. Now if I want to check the NumPy version that is being installed on my system, so I can use the built-in variable dollar, that is np dot double underscore and version double underscore, which gives the version of the NumPy that is currently installed on your system. Now NumPy array can be one dimension, two dimensional, or three dimensional, any number of the thing. So we can check the dimension of the array using the ndim np.dim, sorry, array dot dimension and ndim variable. So it is giving one indicates it is a one dimensional array. Then next, we can also use the indexing for making the operations. For example, I can directly add the two array variables, two values of the array using arr of 2 plus a array of 3, and I will get the result as 7. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Array indexing always starts with 0, so hence then we can also perform the slicing on the array, that is I can perform slicing like a print array of 1 2 3, means the elements starting from 1 and ending with 2 are being printed. So my array contains now 2 and 3. So the way how we perform slicing on the list, the same thing we can perform on the NumPy arrays. Then next is we can perform the operations like searching. For example, I can search a particular element in the array using the where function. For example, I can use the where function like this: x equal to np dot where equal to 4. So yeah, so now 4 is present in the third location, 0 1 2 3. So now the 4 value is present in the third location. So these are the flexibilities that are being provided with the NumPy arrays, hence they are being most important and being used very easily. We can also use the perform sorting on the NumPy array. So let us take one random array where we will initialize. I will take this as ARR1 np dot array with 0 4 1 6 9 5 4. So now I have one array with random values. Now I can use the sort function to sort the array, print np dot sort, and this function takes the array as the input. So now it will print the values in the sorted array. So 0 1 4 4 5 6 9. So these are the few functions that are being used in the NumPy most frequently. Now let us look at the one more example, one more module, that is pandas module, which is used for the data operations, performing the data operations on the Python. The more structured data with the data frame object, so that is Alex, 10, Bob, 12, Clark, 13, and I can assign dynamically the name and age to these attributes. So after executing, so we will get a more structured output. A data frame provides a lot of built-in functionalities. We will just look at the one example. I will create a data frame with a set of numbers 1 2 3 4 5, and I want to find the sum of these numbers, which is very helpful in performing the descriptive statistics. So let us see how to do that. So create a data frame. So it is pd.dataFrame. Now I have a data frame which contains okay, it is pd.dataFrame, which contains 1 2 3 4 5. Now if I want to find the sum of this data frame, so df.sum, so I will get the result as 15. So in this way we can use the pandas library to perform a descriptive statistics operation. We can also perform the CSV file reading using the read CSV function. So pandas provide read CSV function. So for example, I have a one CSV file which is available in this folder. So I can directly use pd.read_csv, pd_read_csv, pd.read_csv. One, the name of the file is one findes.csv. So it takes argument as the file name. Then I can print the content of this Excel file using the print function. So this is how we can read the CSV file. So if I want to check what is the type of the data, then I will get this as a data frame. So again I can perform the set of operations on this data frame object. Now let us see one more important package that is needed for Python for this machine learning lab. So that is the matplotlib module. So matplotlib is mainly used for the graph plotting, because when we are performing any analysis on the machine learning, when we are implementing the machine learning algorithm, we are more concerned about the representation of the data in the form of graphs. So in this case we are using the matplotlib. Even the Seaborn is also one of the most efficient or most widely used graph plotting live module. So matplotlib is most popular Python package for data visualization. It is cross-platform library for making 2D plots from data in arrays. So matplotlib has a procedural interface named PyLab, which is designed to resemble the MATLAB. So let us see how to use the matplotlib on the Jupyter. So the matplotlib can be installed using the pip command, that is pip install matplotlib. So let us see how to import and use the matplotlib. Import the module using import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So plt is the alias name for the matplotlib.pyplot. So let us see how to plot the graph. So when using the matplotlib, we are more frequently using the numpy. So we use arange function of the numpy to get the array of the now we are plotting the sine wave. So we will just make the sine values in the range 0 to 2 pi. 0 math.pi into pi with the step size as 0.05. So we will get a set of values. We will import here math library. So math is again one more library which contains the mathematics functions. If we are interested, then we can visualize what are the values of the x. So these are the values in the range 0 to 2 pi. Let us use the sine function y equal to np dot sine x. So we know that the sine function is present in the numpy because numpy provides most of the mathematical functions. So then next we'll just use plot function of the matplotlib x comma y. So we will get the sine curve. So we can put the x label and y label, plt.x label, where x is having the value of angle and y label is having the value of sine function. Then I can give the title as plt.title with the title of the as title for the graph as sine wave. So I will just write plt dot show. So here we will get the values as the name of the graph is sine wave, x-axis is angle, y-axis is plot. So we all together put this in one place so that we will get the complete curve with all the details. We have np dot a range, np dot sin x, and here we will put plt dot show. Let us put all the things at one place. We will get the curve as this. So this is how we can get the sine wave curve using the matplotlib function. So we can what we have done is the we can generate we use the x label and y label attributes of the PLT to add x and y label, and the title of the graph is given as the sine wave. The show function will display the value, will display the graph. Now let us take one more example how to plot any different type of curve. So from Pylab x equal to linspace, that is linear space, which is there in the NumPy library, np dot linspace minus 3 comma 3 comma 30, then y equal to x square, which is a parabola function. Then I will just plot x comma y. So I will use plt dot plot x comma y. So I will get a parabola curve. So in this way the matplotlib provides the lot of ways of displaying the graph. So instead of this, if I just want to plot the data in the form of dots, so I can use the various customization for the graph, and it is also provided by the matplotlib. For example, if I want to use the, instead of blue line, if I want to use it as a red dot, so I can use red dots. So in this way we can use play with the graphs using the matplotlib function. So this is what we want to discuss in the today's introduction lab. So in this we are using the NumPy, pandas and matplotlib functions in most of our laboratory experiments, and as and when we encounter any new packages, we will explore it there and we'll work with the examples. So thank you for the today's laboratory session. Let's start in the next lab with the set of experiments. Thank you.